Is Trial Tuesday and a brand new New Year's Eve, a time to start thinking about your resolutions for 2014. Attorney and former baby New Year himself, David Aylor, joined us with some legal New Year's resolutions that everyone should keep in mind. So, Counselor, welcome back to the program. Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year to you.
Let's talk about some of these things that people need to keep in mind, of course, going forward to get a fresh start, 2014. What do we need to know?
Well, I mean, you tell me. It depends on what direction you're looking in. Obviously, the first thing we probably want to talk about is trouble, and I think it's everybody's goal to stay out of that. And one thing that comes to mind in the new year, more moving into the spring, is taxes. And you know, what you often see in regards to tax issues is the lack of preparation. And I don't just mean the preparation by an accountant himself or someone who does their own books through the internet, that sort of thing, but just really getting ahead on getting everything together. You know, making sure that you got what you want to write off, particularly with businesses, because what you often see is that people get really busy, get behind on it, and then ultimately can end up in some trouble.
Absolutely, because you have until April to do this thing, so you think it's always plenty of time, and then it just kind of sneaks up on you each and every single year. So what do you want to do right now, today, starting the first of the year, to really get that moving?
Well, if you have an accountant, you should go try to set an appointment for a very small amount of time, maybe 30 minutes, and get with your accountant to go over sort of things that you need to go ahead and put together and prepare so that things aren't forgotten or end up being misstated, which obviously, again, is the part that you can end up into some troubles, at least financial troubles, if not actually legal troubles. And I think an accountant will start that process. And also, beyond that, if you don't have an accountant and within this last year you've started a business, you know, started your own LLC, whatever it may be, it's time to go sit down with an accountant, you know, or someone that is at least knowledgeable in that area. It's difficult to try to tell people who to go to because obviously they feel comfortable with different people, but you can always trust a CPA to the degree that you know that they have that licensing and they're going to have that background, which really can steer you in the right direction.
Absolutely. You can get in a lot of trouble if you don't pay those taxes. Of course, speaking of taxes, it seems like people, you know, rush into it every April, and that's when things kind of slip through the cracks and those identity thieves are out there lurking. So do you think that doing it earlier and going to the accountant can kind of help save you trouble down the line?
Well, it could also maybe help you look at things on your record, make sure that everything is correct, running your credit, different things like that. Really sort of just doing a tune-up from a fiscal, financial perspective. You saw what just recently happened with Target. You know, that's pretty scary for a lot of people because you don't know how long that's going to affect them. So I think sort of just getting in that mindset ahead of time will save you a lot of stress down the road.
Some other New Year's resolutions that we need to keep in mind legally this time of year?
Well, you know, one thing that you often see around the holiday season is a lot of stress and anxiety from, you know, just various activities, particularly with family members and things. And unfortunately, you tend to see a rise in some of the criminal domestic violence and issues within people's homes. So I think what's important to understand is that if you have a domestic issue, that if you can't determine what to do on your own, you know, there's obviously a lot of options. But if you do call the police, more than likely someone is going to go to jail.
Right.
And they're not going to be the principal. They're not going to be your parent. They're coming there to uphold the law, and that usually means that someone will have to leave with them, whether you like it or not.
Yeah, basically just for that separation. Also, of course, with New Year's, drinking and driving. It's kind of one of those holidays that we talk about each and every year where people make bad decisions.
Yeah, and usually those bad decisions, sort of like the taxes, end up coming back to preparation. Most of my clients and people that have either prosecuted or represented when they've been involved and arrested for driving under the influence, it's simply because they didn't plan ahead. They may not have thought they were going to drive, but then ultimately their ride didn't work out. They waited too long for a cab, whatever it may be, and then because they had drank more, their inhibitions were obviously lowered, and then they make that bad decision, which puts them in a much worse position. So the best thing you can do, whether it's New Year's Eve or any other night, is if you're planning to drink, really, if at all, but particularly any excess amount, which to get to that 0.08 level, as we've talked about before, is not high at all, is that you just go ahead and set up that there's no opportunity for you to drive, meaning that your car's not
Leave
there.
the keys at home.
If the car's not there, it's going to be very difficult to drive it. So, you know, whether that means getting a cab, a private car, or having a friend that's willing to be the sober one for the night, it's going to take so much away because, you know, once it happens, you just can't go backwards, and unfortunately it can really be detrimental to folks.
And as you know, that police and troopers are on the lookout.
Absolutely.
This New Year's Eve. Attorney David Aylor, thank you so much. Happy New Year to you, my friend.
Happy New Year to you.
Great to have you here, and more after the break, so make sure you stay with us.